JSTOR sociology journal articles, and we are talking about roughly 140 different journals in the discipline, then you have a refined picture of the frequencies of the most important authors that are cited in these articles. So you see here a similar decline of Spencer, right? So this is not very different. From above, you also see this rise of Weber and Marx, yeah, with Marx probably having gained another edge here after the global financial crisis, which isn't shown. You see the rise and decline of Parsons again, so this is also similar. Durkheim is much more important here, yeah, similar is also more important than the general Google Books corpus suggests. All right, this is just to give you a little bit of a flavor of how the different theorists that we deal with in this class fared over time. One other way of describing sociology is, again, through these journal articles, but there through the topics that are chosen. And in this publication of mine, actually, I won't cite myself a lot, but here I can actually do it. I used an unsupervised computer algorithm to detect topics automatically in the full text journal articles of around 150,000 journals published here over the last 100 plus years. We found, or we defined a number of around 15 different topics here, which we labeled according to the terms that are most frequently informing a certain topic. Over the time, what this analysis shows us that there has been a specialization of sociology in its different subfields. So you see here that one of the largest chunks of sociology is something that we label public sociology, which addresses all kinds of different issues, but is not a specialized body of, for instance, sociology of work, industrial sociology, microsociology, sociology of law, economic sociology, as the other disciplines, which all gained at the cost of this very general public sociology published in the American Journal of Sociology. We also see over time a rise of culture, gender, race, ethnicity topics. So this corresponds a little bit to the ASA membership numbers we saw. And there's a certain decline, not only of public, but also of theoretical sociology, which you see here at sort of a heyday in the student movement period, where everyone read Marcuse and Marx theoretical treatise, and this also declined. One other way of looking at sociology and its development is through its courses and syllabi. And I invite you also to check out this open syllabus link here, which I shared, which brings you to this open syllabus database, where you can look up more than 10 million syllabi from mostly, I would say, US American universities. And in the field of sociology, you have more than 100,000. So when I go through these, you see, for instance, a top ranking of titles as being cited in all courses labeled as sociology. Yeah, and there are some, let's say, acquaintances of us here. Yeah, so Marx Communist Manifesto, Weber's Protestant Ethics, for instance, Giddens, we have among the general readings. Durkheim, we have Bourdieu. These cover all of the courses, including the methods courses, right? Which correspond more to these kind of writings. And it's also interesting to see how this does over time, right? So how, for instance, a certain book is cited over time in different disciplines or across different programs in the United States. So I invite you to check out this database a little bit more. And while you're doing it, I also wanted to show you a certain use one can do with this. So I myself was interested for a current paper of mine about the prominence of economic topics in the various social science disciplines. Yeah? And I used the syllabi project data, which you can get when you sign a data agreement, in order to look for economic terms in the descriptions of the syllabi in the different disciplines. And yeah, I incidentally found that economic sociology is more important than economic topics in all of these other neighboring disciplines by just the frequency count of economic terms in these syllabi. Long story short, if you want to know more about how the discipline developed, including in its education, take a look at the syllabi data yourself. A final glance on sociology and its history can be done through its textbooks. And I here cite the works of a colleague of mine, Philip Corone, who dived into the textbooks, the most cited textbooks in sociology in the 70s and again in the 2010s, and looked at what he calls the citation elite in these textbooks, in also journals, handbooks, and encyclopedia, which you see here. And he standardized the, let's say, elite ranking of sociologists on a scale from 0 to 1. And yeah, you encounter again a couple of acquaintances, not just in the most cited works here in the textbooks, which we mostly cover actually in our class, but also among the prestige elite, which if one looks at it, is relatively stable also over time. And a couple of takeaways that Philip Corone here observes is that, first of all, there's a stickiness in this elite. So it's similar to perhaps the elite in wealth, or perhaps also political dynasties. So this is very sticky over time. There's also a superstar or a winner takes all kind of phenomenon, in that the distribution of citations in these different works is very skewed. Very few receive a lot of attention, and the bottom 90% receive very little. Overall, this elite citations correlate also with who gets awards and membership in honorific societies, something used to sort of get recognition in the discipline. Over time, this elite in also American textbooks became more Europeanized. You see here that Bourdieu makes it into the very top. Weber and Durkheim have sort of a status as classics even in the United States, and this before even Goffman, Parsons, and so on. Overall, the elite is not very diverse, so male-dominated Ivy League kind of sociologists, and also with very little non-academic family background, even though Philip observes that there are over time more and more mobile professors, so socially mobile professors as well. All right, so you notice that one can write the history of sociology or the sociology of sociology in various ways. You can define it in demographic terms through the lens of its topics, its main authors cited. I try to cover many different dimensions here and take this just as an invitation to go further into detail. I want to conclude this lecture with a couple of broader trends and the state perhaps of sociology today. So first of all, it became noticeable that sociology has specialized more and more. Some even regret the current state as one of a fragmentation with a lack of integration by, let's say, common